Here we are, starting a brand new week. Unfortunately, a lot of people are starting the week without jobs. Conservative estimate is 14,000. I've heard as many as 25. Let's stick with 14. But regardless, this is all about Spirit Airlines getting away, a direct result of people who have absolutely no idea how business works and how the free market works, sticking their noses into it for political points. That's exactly what happened, despite what you've been told about Spirit Airlines. But I always leave you with great news. There's amazing news, actually. The free market always wins. Kind of like how water always finds the lowest ground, eventually. There's actually something amazing happening with this defunct JetBlue Spirit Airlines merger. But regardless, it made it more difficult on all of us. We got to get through that, and we will. But the free market, in two great examples, is going to come out on top here, and that's fantastic. Hey, and it's also, unless you're watching this or listening later on, it's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. If you're wondering why you're seeing so much Star Wars stuff out there in the world today, in your business world, in your life, in your casual lifestyle world, that's why it's a big promotional thing. It took them years to figure out to use May the 4th. May the 4th, for Star Wars promotions, but they do it now anyway. That's why. Thanks for finding me. Welcome to Monday and May the 4th. It's Wicked Radio live streaming and replay, X, YouTube, Facebook, but your audio podcast too, wherever you like to get those. Like, share, follow, whatever they tell you to do. Thanks for being here. How did we get here? Let's start with this past weekend. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy at Newark Airport explaining what's going on with Spirit Airlines. And then he kind of took shots. I appreciate this about this administration. I do. They have people who are in the administration, in cabinet positions, everything else. They're not afraid to name names, and I love that. So here's how he started when he held a press conference.
Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy speaking at LaGuardia or Newark Liberty Airport in New Jersey.
Spirit Airlines ceased operations. So what that means is Spirit does not have airplanes in the air flying as of this morning. Also, their call centers are closed, and they don't have staff at ticket counters. So
now, that's chaotic regardless. Some would argue that it's chaotic to fly Spirit Airlines anyway, but still, this means less options for the consumer, and that sucks. That's what's terrible. First piece of good news was other airlines, including American, I believe JetBlue as well, funny enough, because they were supposed to, be buying them, stepped up to help people, with their flights. They'll take them on. They'll try to fit them in however they can. They're also going to accept job applications for these 14,000 plus people who are now out of work because of this. But then Sean Duffy did something else. He named names, and he explained exactly why we're here. It's important that he did this on Saturday.
Why are we here today? There was a proposed merger between JetBlue and Spirit. And Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg, along with the Biden DOJ, decided that they did not want that merger to take place. And at the time, the Biden and Buttigieg DOJ bragged and said, as they canceled the option for this merger, that this was a victory for U.S. travelers who deserve lower prices and better choices. Now, many at the time said this was a disaster. This merger should have been allowed. And this today would indicate this is not better for travelers. This is not better for pricing. This is not better for competition. Actually,
in what world would it be? How do you remove an airline or stop a merger, stick your nose in when the government sticks in its nose into private industry and stops a merger? Look at the end result. It took 2 years, but here we are now. One airline has to go away. That means jobs go away. People who are stuck with those flights are all screwed up. The other airlines have to try to fit them in. People are out of work. In what world is that okay? But that wasn't the case. So who is he talking about specifically? Who stepped in from the political world in 2024 to screw this all up? Well, let me give you a little hint. It rhymes with Pocahontas. Some would call her, some people who wound up being president again coined the term Pocahontas. That's right. Elizabeth Warren, the senator from the used to be great state of Massachusetts, the People's Republic of Massachusetts now, stuck her nose in and spearheaded the effort to screw up this merger. Could it be? Is that really true? Was it really her? Well, let me go directly to one of her posts from, let's see what the date is, March 5th, 2024. This is Senator Elizabeth Warren. You may know her as Pocahontas. I've warned for months that a JetBlue Spirit Airlines merger would have led to fewer flights and higher fares. Actually, that's where we are now, despite the merger. Anyways, Justice and USDOT were right to stand up for consumers and fight against runaway airline consolidation. This is a Biden win for flyers. Yeah, real win. Look at all those jobs you cost, you absolute moron. But there you are. This is the classic case of when people who have absolutely no clue how business or free market works stick their noses in, come out of the teepee and stick their noses into business and screw it up for everybody. And here we are. But she wasn't the only one. To screw up a deal this big, you need some help. Now, you would be hard-pressed to find anybody dumber in politics than Senator Chris Murphy. Amazingly, from another New England state, from Connecticut. Good job, Connecticut. Let's go back again to 2024 when they were all jumping up and down, celebrating, destroying a merger that would have saved all these jobs. Here he is. Let's go back in time and find out how dumb he was then and now.
So this week, at the request of the Biden administration, a federal judge blocked a big airline merger between two airlines you've heard of, JetBlue and Spirit. I want to tell you why this is really important for consumers, but also for the country. The Biden administration has made it a priority to try to break up these big monopolies, to try to infuse more competition into our economy. You know this is a problem because you've seen these massive companies become more and more powerful. And that's really bad for workers. It's really bad for consumers. It just sort of, guts the emotional soul of the country when you've...
How do you think the emotional soul of the travelers stuck at airports this weekend felt, Chris? Did you ever think about that? Because they don't have the ability to think down the road what the implications would be for this. They can't do it because I can't find a better word for it. People like Elizabeth Warren and him, Chris Murphy, they're dumb. They're very, very simplistic, dumb people who stick their noses to where it doesn't belong for political points because it sounds great. We're doing this. We're stopping big corporations, those billionaires. And look at the results. Now you've got an airline gone and 14,000, conservative estimate, jobs gone until now. Now, as soon as Sean Murphy said this, what did you hear? This is the timeline of the propaganda that's sent out there and the media spin that started. What did you probably hear was the cause of Spirit Airlines going away over the weekend? Think about it. What did you have your dimwit friends tell you? What did you hear what the mainstream media, what did CNN tell you it's all about? What did they try to spin as soon as Sean Duffy started naming names? This is Trump's high gas prices causing Spirit Airlines to go away, as if a temporary spike in gas prices is going to cause an airline to go away. No, it was hemorrhaging money because a deal that would have saved it went away because of idiots like Chris Murphy and Elizabeth Warren. That's why. But once they started naming names and people started to understand the truth about why this airline went away, we got to get the spin out there. Get the news out there. Blame Trump. Gas. People see high gas prices this weekend. Blame the gas prices. Fuel prices. It was airline fuel. That's what it was. Right. Don't you buy it. Thankfully, we have people now in charge who actually know what they're doing. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary. Boy, is this guy brilliant. He actually was on Maria Bartiromo explaining pretty much what Sean Duffy... I'm getting all the Duffys and Murphys mixed up. Explain what exactly happened. But he laid it out perfectly this weekend.
This is just more of the mess we inherited from the Biden administration. In September 2022, Elizabeth Warren, who loves to write letters, sent a letter to the Justice Department, to the Transport Department, saying that they should oppose the merger with Spirit Airlines. JetBlue wanted to buy them for $3.8 billion. It would have given them much more resiliency. And she and the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg was probably the worst transportation secretary in history when he came to the office. They were against the merger. And if JetBlue had merged with Spirit, we would have all these jobs that were lost yesterday. We had 30 regional airports who have lost service. And I can tell you what happened here. It wasn't Treasury, it was Commerce that was trying to put something together. But the reason we were here was because the Biden administration opposed the merger. We shouldn't have been here in the first place.
Shouldn't have been here in the first place. Isn't that correct? Because why, again, what's our theme today? People who have absolutely no idea how free market economy works socialists from Massachusetts and Connecticut, in the form of Elizabeth Warren and Chris Murphy, stuck their noses in for political points because it sounded good to stop a big corporation. Those billionaires, those bad people, right? Stuck their noses in, and here you are now. Look where we are now. But I always leave you with good news. If you look through all the propaganda and the spin and the crap, and you look through the idiots who get us to this point, free market always wins. What do you mean, Bill? This sounds pretty bad when 14,000 people lose their jobs. Well, free market is more powerful than they are because something amazing is happening right now from airline insiders, and they're all saying this, people who actually follow this industry. JetBlue may be pulling off an ultimate power move here because there are smart people that actually run the company. And believe it or not, no matter what you think of Spirit Airlines and all the fight videos we used to see on Spirit Airlines, that's a different matter. There are smart people who run these things. Hours after Spirit Airlines went dark, JetBlue began swooping in, reportedly, into South Florida, that would be Fort Lauderdale, which is a major Spirit hub, with a full-blown rescue mission. And they're not playing small ball here. Here's the breakdown. $99 rescue fares for anybody holding a valid Spirit ticket. Same route, same dates, 1-800-JetBlue. So check into that because remember those airlines I was talking about? They're helping out people with jobs and flights. They're swooping in. But that's just a little bit of it. Their JetBlue plans now, because of this opening, scoop up Spirit Airlines assets. They have a lot of assets, both tech and actual physical airplanes, and to make Fort Lauderdale a major hub. So even though the government stuck their noses in where it doesn't belong and they screwed up this merger, it may work out for the free market economy and therefore consumers anyway because they're going to buy Spirit Airlines assets regardless, and that wouldn't be a merger. Wouldn't that be incredible? Where the free market wins again despite idiotic politicians stepping in and screwing it up. You notice, by the way, Elizabeth Warren was dead silent about any of this stuff this weekend, even though she screwed it up in the beginning in 2024. Chris Murphy also silent because he was probably asleep all weekend. But anyway, there they are, not saying anything because they know this falls directly on them. But once it started to fall directly on them, again, what was the spin? It's Trump fuel prices. It's Iran. It's Operation Epic Fury causing this. No. I know you didn't believe that, but make sure the people around you didn't believe that either. Free market always steps in and win. But there's another one, and this is great. This is just a little bit of a lighthearted kind of thing. So you know how they always put together like crowdsource funding things and, you know, free market things and even GoFundMe's at some time where the online presence of people who have ideas start to boost up a little bit? There's a kid. His name is Hunter Peterson. He's an airline enthusiast, he says. He's a TikToker. He put together a crowdsource funding plan to buy Spirit Airlines. Now, I know that just sounds funny, right? You know, some goof on TikTok gets on there. But let him explain in just a couple of hours how much money they actually put together or dedicated towards actually buying Spirit Airlines. Did it work? Will it work? No, it will not. But I'm telling you, sometime in our lifetime, one of these things is actually going to work. Someone's going to put together a funding source online, whatever it's called in a few years, and is actually going to be able to buy a major corporation. This is a classic example. Two great examples of the free market fixing things. JetBlue buying up Spirit assets anyway and honoring those flights. That's the first thing where this will work. And the second thing is actual people taking things into their own hands. Here's this kid, Hunter Peterson, on TikTok over the weekend with his idea for regular people to buy Spirit Airlines. In theory, this is fantastic. Someday one of these is going to work.
Okay, so it's been about 2.5 hours, and y'all are really interested in all of us buying Spirit Airlines. So I made a website. It's called letsbuyspirit.com. Register your intent. I won't take any money. We're not going to use the Venmo anymore. That was kind of a joke. And we're going to try and, I guess, buy Spirit Airlines. Let's do this. You and me. I'm kind of autistic, and I really like airplanes. So, vote for me as CEO. Are we actually doing this?
How fantastic is that? And it got into I don't know where it is right now. I checked it last night, but it got into the hundreds of millions of money pledged because people, let's face it, people knew their money actually wasn't going to be spent. But seriously, just the idea that something like this could happen with the concept of putting together money or people pledging money to do it. What happens if this actually works? Not yet. 10 years, 15 years down the road. Some company is going to fail. and there will actually be actual investors that will be crowdsourced online to buy them. Not in a dark boardroom somewhere, not insider trading on Wall Street, but regular people joining up to buy a company someday. Someday it's going to happen. I don't know what industry it would be. I don't know what company it would be, but someday somebody's going to pull this off and get it done. Because you have the resources now. You have the ability to get that information and put together that kind of funding. If anybody was ever smart enough to put this together, that would be amazing. But the free market wins. The big takeaway, don't buy the lie. It's not Operation Epic Fury closed Spirit Airlines. The dumb people among us will believe that because they believe the media spin. But when did that spin start to come about? When you had the Treasury Secretary and the Transportation Secretary naming names and who was responsible for screwing this up. Idiot politicians who stuck their noses in. But the free market's going to win anyway. Something will happen with Spirit. It's a shame that they're going through that. I can't stand it, the fact that people are stuck in airports and their flights and all this other stuff. But this will wind up being a great thing. JetBlue will buy the assets. They'll expand their operations, and free market always wins. Always. Don't buy the spin. Thanks for hanging out with me. I got to get out of here. I got stuff to do, but so do you. Welcome to Monday. May the 4th be with you. You're going to find a lot of Star Wars content on your social media today. Maybe even people at work dressing up like Star Wars characters. I don't know how weird it gets. I don't know, whatever. But it's a big Star Wars day for the fandom, and they're going to push I think it's the No Grogu movie that's coming out. You're going to see advertising for that all over the place. It's just a fun marketing kind of thing, that's all. All right, thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate you. It's only Monday. Make it a wicked awesome Monday. The replay on X and YouTube and Facebook and the audio podcast, as always, wherever you like to get them. Make it a wicked awesome start to the week. It's only going to get better from here. Talk to you tomorrow.